guys, here with another episode of Training Confidential. We have the Tampa Pro this weekend with John De La Russa winning. He looked pretty phenomenal. We had Mohamed Foda in second and Jordan Hutchinson in third. We had Vlad Slav in fourth and Lewis Breed in fifth. So I want to go by a few photos because really I wanted to talk about Phil Clahar retirement on this episode. But I want to go through this first. Go through a couple pictures. So we got Jordan Hutchinson looked great. He looked pretty good in this. And De La Rosa, well, De La Rosa is going to go to the Olympia now. I was kind of surprised that Hutchinson didn't get second, but he didn't. So he got third. He still got paid something anyway.
Wow, this lighting is like incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is just Instagram here. So let's see, I got some more pics here. Here's the first call out up top. This is the second call out in the bottom, I believe. Oh, no, the next page is the second call out.
Well, how many people was in this lineup? How many people showed up in this? This looked like a pretty
Okay, so there was it went all the way to 16th place, and I think there
okay.
was 4 or 5 guys in 16th.
Okay.
So there would have been like
So it's
21
about
guys.
20 about 22, 23 competitors.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a pretty good lineup. I mean, it
Yeah.
was actually a damn good lineup. A lot of the guys I'm not too familiar with. I'm going to be now. But yeah, Tim Budashine was in it too. He didn't do so hot as he did on the prior shows. I think he needs to take a break for a little bit maybe. But De La Rosa, man, he's been fighting for that position and now he got it. So, and I'd like to see Hutchison up there too on that stage. But he's still got time. So yeah. So it was a good show, but the reason what I wanted to kind of talk about mainly was Phil Clahar and his retirement. So he did this show and he posted, it was like Sunday, uh, letting us all know he's going to retire. And then he came out today at 12 Eastern time with a video, with Ron Harris Muscle broadcast, and he had an interview on that, and he was explaining why, and stuff like that. So after I got one more pick, I want to go to talk about that. That's a good pick. That's a good picture there. See, Hutchison, he's a lot bigger than De La Rosa is.
Yes, tall. It looks like he's taller too, so
He is, yeah, yeah. But man, I mean, they all look great. It was definitely a tough show. So Phil Clahar. So anyway, I want to go to this first. So he posted this, what was it, Sunday. And so I was following that, and then we go and we get our live broadcast
how old
here.
is he again? I thought
He's
he was like
50.
I thought he was in his 60s.
No, he just turned 50 in June.
Okay.
So he actually got his pro card at 43.
Okay.
And yeah. And the cool thing about it is he got his pro card. He was in the he did master's class and he did open. He won the overall in both of those. So that kind of cued him into, hey, I might have a chance with these pros, and do something, and so that's kind of what got him into the next several years after that. So I think that was in 2021, I believe that show was.
Yeah.
Uh Yeah, so other than that, he's from Jamaica, so he kind of had to go through the Caribbean scene first to be able to get over here to actually compete, and so people realize who he was. He really didn't have virtually no following as far as social media. He had no sponsors. He did all he just fought hard and he got his position in as a IFBB pro. So he did a total of 18 pro shows. He actually only did 5 or 6. He couldn't remember what NPC shows before he became pro. So he actually hasn't been bodybuilding all that long. So he became pro later in life. So So I thought that was pretty cool. 43 when he got his pro card. He did a total of 18 shows. He got third place in the Masters Olympia. And if you remember that, prior to the Masters Olympia, remember he had a deal with his leg. He had an infection in his leg really bad, and he got sick, really sick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so apparently the judges were telling him, they were gonna, they were gonna he was gonna be a lot higher than third if he hadn't, if that hadn't happened. But he worked his butt off, and then he got into the Olympia too last year. So which in the Olympia, I want to go to his stats here actually next so I can remember stats here. So 2024, uh 2023. Yeah, so he won first place in the Orlando Pro. That's what got him into the Olympia. And he got 16th place in the Olympia, third place in the Masters Olympia. This year he did the Chicago Pro and the Tampa Pro. So he got 13th and then he got 16th, obviously in the Tampa Pro. And I think that was mainly because he didn't show back up for finals. He was kind of
Yeah.
disgusted. And the reason being after the Chicago and prior to that, people were kind of telling him, hey, what's your exit strategy? And they're trying to, he felt like they're kind of shooting him out of there. Like, it's kind of over for you. You know what I mean? And that was the idea that he got, but he couldn't really go into, prepping for these shows with that kind of state of mind. So,
Right.
he
Yeah.
kind of didn't pay attention to that really. He just kind of listened and kind of went out in through one ear and out the other because, it is one of those guys that, when he goes into full prep mode, he's not talking to family, friends. He's full prep mode. Like this guy, he's got a job to do and he's going to do it well. And that's just what he does. So, which, most bodybuilders are that way. It's a selfless sport.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but anyway, so again during the Tampa, he gets some remarks from people about sixth place and all that, that he was gonna top six and he looked great and he looked better than he did last year and this and that, and then he gets third call out and that just kind of did it for him.
Took
At
the
that
winds out
point,
of
he
his
was just
sails.
kind of yeah, he was just kind of screw this. I'm not going back. So he had to go ahead and he had a whole bunch of fans that went over and got VIP tickets for that show. And so he had to call them all up before finals, letting them know that, hey, I'm not going to be there. I'm sorry. Because that's the type of guy he is. I mean, if you ever
Yeah.
looked at his Instagram and stuff like that, he replies to every comment. He's really engaged with his fans, which is really cool. He's really, real soft-natured guy, soft-spoken, just a good human being all around.
Uh-huh.
Also in the Tampa Pro too, his posing routine got cut short for some reason, which that was another cue that maybe they're just trying to push him off stage. So he didn't get his 60 seconds. He kind of stayed up there longer because he's like, I'm not going to walk off. I'm going to finish my routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that got called short, and yeah, and he was kind of getting the feeling that people were pushing him out. So basically what the and if you guys want to watch the interview, it's a great interview. It's on Ron Harris Muscle. He used to have muscular development, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's on there now.
MD.
You guys can watch the whole episode. It's about an hour long or something like that. But basically what he was getting at was uh the politics in bodybuilding and how, bodybuilders, we need representation, and we don't have none. And, Bob is, the representation for the bodybuilders. But the thing is, he works for the IFBB Pro, which I found out technically he doesn't even get any paid from them. I mean, he probably gets sponsorships and stuff from other people, but he doesn't get paid from the IFBB uh, to announce the shows and do the shows and stuff. But he's kind of supposed to be a representative for the bodybuilding community, and there just isn't any. I mean, there is for football, there is for everything else. I guess the union, I guess, is what I could say you would call it.
Yeah.
And some accountability for the judges and stuff. Because on one end, uh, I thought this year, as far as judging, it seemed pretty clear to me. I didn't see really anything weird the judges did or said or anything like that didn't make sense to me in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
On somebody winning when they shouldn't have or whatever
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. But last year I seen a little bit of that. I
Okay.
thought, and you know, uh, and this brings me to, I wanted to, you were telling me about the story about pumping iron.
Yeah, it's I was listening to Robbie Robinson's interview and stuff, and it's just some really revealing things about that movie Pumping Iron and stuff, and it's a couple of things that really stood out was the mere fact that the only person that really got paid out of that whole ordeal, was Arnold, and he agreed to do the movie because he had already retired, and they paid him $50,000,
Mhm.
you know. And the thing about it is this didn't come out until much later and stuff, you know. So, but when Robbie and the other bodybuilders found out that they weren't their participation in the movie, they weren't going to get anything from it, Robbie kind of rebelled on that. He started pushing back a little bit, about some of the stuff that was going on. Like he wasn't getting paid very much when he was almost at the pinnacle of his game and stuff, Tom Platz came out with an organization, and it kind of challenged the IFBB for a little bit and stuff, and bodybuilders were starting to flock to that, so Ben offered Robbie a contract, I think it was like 6,500 a month, something like that, you know, but when Tom Platz's organization tanked, you know which was about 6 to 8 months, because Joe Weider had given Robbie a 2-year contract. He canceled the contract.
Mhm.
This is the kind of exploitation that's been, kind of going on in bodybuilding. It's have some people turned out pretty good and stuff. Yeah, Gaspari and some others, but they had other things going on too.
Yeah.
But as far as like bodybuilding goes, there was probably a short period of time to where you could land a contract, and about a weed contract and maybe a supplement, and you can just train, and that's all you really had to do. That's kind of hard to do nowadays,
Yeah.
you know. And the reason I'm able to do the stuff that I do is because, like I said, I'm a gym owner and stuff, and we do pretty good. I mean, I can afford, and with all of the expenses that go with it, the expenses as far as the traveling, the hotels, the tanning, the make, all that stuff that goes on with it, and a lot of mine is cut because I am a trainer. I don't have a trainer, and I have own my own gym, so those are some expenses that I don't have to really contend with,
Mhm.
but I can see how it can come across as being really exploitative,
Yeah.
but and maybe one of these something's going to come around where we can probably finally get some kind of representation. We'll see. I don't know. I find it hard pressed for someone today, other than winning like the Arnold Classic and the Olympia. I mean, those are pretty big purses and stuff. You can win those person and literally not work the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of the shows out there, you're not getting that kind of money. You'd have to win about 2 or 3 shows, you know, if we're talking about 30,000 a piece.
Yeah.
That puts you right around that $90,000 range and stuff. But $90,000 isn't really a lot of money nowadays,
No.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you win 3 shows a year, you still got to have a job.
And if you notice a lot of these local shows, you don't find a lot of guest performers like you used to.
No, you don't. No.
Like in the 2000, I mean, almost every show you would have, guest posers and stuff, and that was a fairly decent way to make some money. But then Stone Cold came out and just said, hey, look, these guys, they really don't get that money neither, the company gets it. I
Really?
don't know how true that is, but but yeah. So
So,
there's a lot of exploitative things going on, but you
yeah.
know,
I mean, you got to roll with the punches. We love the sport, so it's like the ways we could change it. I like that idea of some kind of a union, some kind of a representative for the bodybuilding community. Because I mean, it's not just financial, there's health involved too. Like Phil Clahar, in order for him to do well in his pro league, he had to gain a lot of weight. And how he had to do that was,
I,
there
I
was health
I
issues with that.
I think the challenge is, see, with pro sports like with baseball and let's say football, you got the owners. Okay. So you clearly have an element that you need to, that you need to confront, let them, so you have that. But with bodybuilding, you have the promoters, but I don't know if the promoters have any type of organization. Who do you express your grievances to?
You're right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're the scene that doesn't, there's it's you've got all these different promoters, and I don't think they have an organization. I guess we can I guess the owners of the IFB being the owners, of these the IFBB, the pro league, I guess that's who you can express grievances with. But then you got all these promoters too. So, I mean,
Which I mean, the Manions have been doing pretty good, especially since this last year, especially from starting from last year's Olympia and Arnold and all that stuff, about explaining why they were judging the way they were, which I thought was really cool.
what
Uh
I like to know, I just like a little bit more transparency. I like to know, I mean, what's the IFBB's, what's their take in, and what's their, what are their expenses? I mean, and I mean, how does the money looking in? What are they actually making? I
yeah.
mean, and that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
What's the net profit?
Yeah.
You know,
So
you
you
know,
take
if,
a show like the Tampa Pro, it's obviously IFBB Pro League. Who is making that money for that show? Is it the venue? Is it the producer of the show, or and the IFBB gets a cut? Or I mean, how does that work,
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how many people actually know. I don't know
Yeah.
the dynamics of that. I don't have the foggiest idea. That'd
I
be
mean,
something interesting to know.
you take like an NPC show like Emerald Cup, for example, it's a big show, very big show. And then they have the pros there too, but I mean just the NPC part, the amateurs, I mean hell, you're paying a lot of money to compete there. And your audience is just is your family and friends, right? And they're paying a lot of money and they're not
And I
paying
think,
out
but
any of
we'll-
you.
but we will say this: they take care of you though.
They do. They do. I don't have
They
anything bad to
take
say about the E Cup at all.
they take care of you.
They do.
I
They do.
mean, it's I don't know, I don't think there would be an athlete there that didn't say, okay, hey, look, it was a lot of money, but it was money well spent. You
Yeah.
know.
And I'm not saying that anytime I went there it wasn't that way, but I would like, I would like to know where the money goes though. You know, because even the pro, the pro shows that they have at like the E Cup, I mean, what's the biggest purse? A couple grand, you know what I mean? I mean, their payout and I mean charging what was it, like $80 a person or something like that. You know what I mean? A day. You know what I'm saying? And you got a crowd of hundreds and hundreds of people. You
So
know,
yeah, my entry fee was 250.
hmm
Okay. But I won my division, so I got 500. Now I can say stuff. I can say stuff like, because like I said, it's I don't I'm not in it to really make money or anything, because it's hard to make,
yeah,
money competitively in bodybuilding unless you're just winning the big shows, the big purses, you
yeah,
know. But I mean, a lot of people, they're in a position to where they can actually afford to do the activity and stuff.
yeah, yeah. Being a you have to have some money to bodybuild, that's for sure. It is not a cheap sport.
But yeah, it's all consuming.
But back in the day, I mean, was it Flex and all those guys? I mean, they didn't have no money. They were broke, and Whiter would pick them up, and buy their food for them, give them
Yeah,
a
I
place to
mean,
stay.
when the car that Flex he wrecked, he had an accident in. I don't know what he wrecked, but it was an accident. I mean, that was a late model Mercedes. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
he was doing well,
yeah,
And they would show some of the, they would have some of they would do these segments of, bodybuilders, their lifestyles and stuff like that. Some of these guys were living pretty lavishly, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, I
Well, that
mean,
was before social media too. So I mean, they once they were known, they did get paid and they got paid for the videos, I mean, I remember listening to Ronnie Coleman was talking about everybody had fanny packs back then, and their fanny packs were just stacked full of cash. Ronnie's was anyway, because every time he'd go make an appearance somewhere, he'd have a stack of CDs or DVDs, and he would sell them. So he had this wad of cash all the way all the time wherever he went.
mhm.
Uh, but you can't do that now because everything's on, social media.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
times
all about
change.
how many people
Yeah.
watch it and like it and and stuff like that. And then you get paid by that. But
But then you do have examples like the classic Mr. Olympia. His name again?
Bumstead,
Bumstead. I mean, Bumstead is doing pretty good.
he is doing very well. Yeah.
He's there. There are some people that are self-promoting and they are doing very, very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you've got some people they got their pro cards and they made a splash in the scene and stuff and they got out and they're doing well. They're on social media and stuff and they're doing pretty well. Greg Duchette is a good example of that and stuff.
Yeah.
He seems to be doing well. So, it's a little bit more entrepreneurial. You just can't go in and get in the gym and just win a bunch of shows and stuff and everything is going to be fine. I mean, it's not quite as easy as that anymore.
Self-promoting. You got to promote
Yeah, you got to
yourself.
do a lot of self-promoting and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I said, like Shupin Hadi, I mean, yeah, he didn't do a lot of self-promoting and stuff, but goodness gracious, I mean, his winnings, I think his winnings have to be over a million, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh
He's
yeah.
he's done over a million just in winnings.
Well, and he's like, I mean, in Iran, I mean, he's a god over there. They call him the shepherd. I mean, everybody loves this man there. So it's like, he doesn't really even have to promote anything here at all. Everybody knows him and over there they love him. So it's like just because of who he is and what he's accomplished, uh, which is pretty cool. We got a lot of guys coming out of Iran that are actually pretty good uh from the Middle East in general.
Yeah,
But
the Middle East, they produce a good. I mean, they've only, well, wait a minute, they got two Mr. Olympias now because they have Big Ramy and they have Samir Banu.
yep,
Samir Banu is Lebanese
yep.
and Ramy was Egyptian. So
Egyptian, yeah. Ramy is
yeah.
Egyptian, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's cool to see, but you take those guys though, and they weren't able to really do the social media thing, because kind of just starting when they were starting out and stuff. But they lived in a country that uh, people loved it more than they would here, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
I mean, it's actually it's the number one it's the biggest sport in Afghanistan, and I found this out during the Afghanistan war. I'm thinking, well, where do they have time to do bodybuilding shows? But Afghanistan, they're crazy about bodybuilding. It's
really?
it's 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 the thing, you
That's
know.
awesome. Well, you got Dubai. I mean, Dubai, is arguably the bodybuilding capital of the world now. Everybody goes to Dubai. You
But the
know,
thing, the thing about Big Ramy, he had money prior to, so it wasn't like, he had to win shows. He was going to go broke. I mean, he was already pretty established
yeah, I
financially.
think he was. Yeah, and I think
Yeah, he had a fishing. They got a fishing. His
yeah,
family, they have a fishing company or
they had a
something.
boat, a business and stuff. Yeah, he
Yeah.
he, he
Hmm.
came from money, came from
Yeah.
hard workers too. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. Makes sense. All right, I think that's all I got for that. I hate to see Clahar go, but I think that's a good age. I mean, he was going to retire at 50 anyway. Kind of
Yeah.
what he
I
was.
mean, yeah. Everybody's got their reasons.
Yeah,
Everybody's got their reasons.
yeah.
And I think there was a seminar. that I listened to a long time ago when I think I was like in my early 20s. It was Lee Haney, and he's like, everybody's got their own journey. You know what I mean? You know,
Mhm.
you're gonna do this journey the way you're gonna do the journey.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, your journey's not gonna be like mine. Mine's not gonna be like yours. The whole 9 yards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, you know, and people that decide to stay in and go at it and stuff, continue to go at it. I say, hey, look, more power to you. People that decide to bow out, say, hey, look, done with it and stuff. I'm saying, hey, look, that's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah. He put in his time. We put in his time. I mean, he put in his time, so he can do what he's still coaching, and he's got a lot of stuff going on
Oh
for him.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's not competing. I'm pretty sure he's going to be actively involved
Yeah. Yeah.
in the sport and stuff. So
And that was one of the questions of what he's, is he going to be involved still in bodybuilding? He said, "Oh yeah, he's coaching. He just got to kind of let this wear off a little bit, this past weekend." And his eyes kind of raised when Ron was asking him about the position that Bob has, because he says, "Oh, Bob would probably let somebody else have that position if they wanted it, because it's not a paid position." And his kind of his eyebrows raised a little bit there. He might have,
hmm,
so you might see Clahar doing something like that in the future, which would be cool. I mean, do be a different face for bodybuilding. So
yeah,
I mean, his accomplishments in 7 years are pretty impressive. He made it to the Olympia. That's the ultimate goal for every bodybuilder.
not yeah. That's like the top 1%.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, he did that as in his 40s. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just being an Olympian that puts you at the pantheon of the sport. Just
Yep,
being an Olympian,
that's right.
not finishing the top six or being Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
But just making it to it.
Making it to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Especially if you've done it multiple times.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got for tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Donnie.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe.
Yes, sir.